Okay, so continuing with this series of videos about t-tests, let's explore the independent sample t-test. So this is a really straightforward process. Now you just have to go to Analyze, hover over, mouse over, Compare Means, and select Independent Sample t-test. Here you have two boxes, and but before we actually start to work on it, let me just briefly summarize what the independent sample t-test is used for. So the independent sample t-test is used for testing the difference between the means of two independent groups. And this is really useful when your research question requires the comparison of variables. Now, be really aware that these variables should be measured at least in an ordinal scale. If you have only a nominal scale, then you cannot use the independent sample t-test. Now, additionally, there are some other requirements that you should fulfill. In the first is that your independent variable that is going to be here in the grouping variable box should be consisted only of two levels. Okay, so in this case we want gender. We only have male and female. If your independent variable is consisted of more than two levels, then you cannot use the independent sample t-test. And you only need one dependent variable. You cannot use this if you want to test more than one dependent variable. And finally, you need to make sure that your data set meet the assumptions of independence, normality, and homogeneity of variance. So the independence is that the two groups are independent of one another. The normality is that the dependent variable is normally distributed, and the homogeneity of variance is something that is checked in SPSS by the Levine test. So I'm going to show you everything in detail now. As I said, our grouping variable is going to be gender, and our test variable, our dependent variable, is going to be make competence. So we just click there and there. Now in the grouping variable we have to select it and then just click in define groups. We have coded in our data set 1 for male and 2 for female. So click on continue, click on paste once again so we can see the code behind our action in the syntax window. Select it and click on run. So we have the group statistics. We can see here that the information has been separated by gender. We can see male, the participants are 468, and female 694. We have the mean, the standard deviation, the standard error mean. And we are interested in this independent sample test table. The Levine test is going to check the homogeneity of variance. You can see an F of 0.135 and a significance of 0.713. If this value here is bigger than 0.05, then the assumption of variance has not been violated. That means that we can continue reading on this first row. If this value is smaller than 0.05, that means that we have to switch to the second row and read the information, and the equal variance is not assumed. In this case, the information between the two rows are pretty much the same. The major difference is in the degrees of freedom, but as you can see, our significance, the mean difference, the standard error difference, and our confidence intervals are pretty much the same. But it's important that you know which row you have to read. In the group statistics, in the mean, you can see that females have a score of 36.5 and males 34.7. This means that females in our study tend to give a higher score in the MIC competence scale than males. And here in this table we see that the significant two-tailed is 0, so we can say that there is a significant difference between males and females in the MIC competence scale. Additionally, in our confidence intervals give us the information to say if we can reject our null hypothesis that we have established on our theory. For more about this null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis, please make sure to check the links I will include in this post. And now you know how to perform the independent sample t-test by your own. So see you next time.